네, 안녕하세요, 여러분. 지금 잠깐 뉴스 있나 찾아보고 있었는데, 아이온큐가 큐비텍이라는 회사를 인수한다고 하네요. 양자 네트워킹 분야로 리더십을 강화한다. 이게 뉴스가 어제 자기 전까지만 해도 없었던 것 같은데, 챗GPT 이렇게 물어보면 잘 알려줍니다. 양자 컴퓨팅, 양자 통신 분야 스타트업 회사이고, 소규모다. 정확한 재무 정보나 이런 거는 비상장이라서 안 알려지고 있네요. 잘 한 것 같습니다. 아이온큐가 전에는 이제 포토닉 인터넷 커넥트 개발을 위해서 인탱그 네트워크스라는 캐나다 소규모 기업을 인수를 했었는데, 이제 양자 네트워킹 쪽으로 넓혀가고 있어서 큐비텍이라는 회사를 또 인수를 했네요. 그래서 캘리포니아주 비스타에 있는 양자 네트워킹 회사인 큐비텍을 인수하기로 했다. 6개월 이내 인수를 마무리할 것이고, 양자 네트워킹은 앞으로 필수적일 거고 방위, 금융, 에너지 분야에서 중요할 거다. 어허. 큐비텍 인수는 아이온큐가 양자 네트워킹 시장을 확장하는 데 중요한 단계가 될 것이고, 양자 네트워킹, 양자 컴퓨터 선도주자가 될 것이다. 어허. 잘한 것 같네요. 큐비텍은 양자 네트워크의 하드웨어와 소프트웨어를 설계, 구축, 통합하며 양자 지원 인터넷의 선구자다. 드론 얘기를 피터 제프맨 CEO가 인터뷰에 나와서 했던 적이 있는데, 실제로 이쪽 관련된 보안 네트워크 솔루션을 개발하고 있네요. 역시 그냥 한 소리가 아니었네요. 음, 네, 폐장되고 지금 장후 애프터마켓에서 4.6% 정도 상승을 하고 있는데, 어떤 결과를 줬을지 한번 보도록 하겠습니다. 어쨌거나 양자 네트워킹을 위해서 새로운 기업 인수한 거는 잘한 것 같네요. 뭐 우리가 예상했던 엄청나게 큰 기업은 아니지만 잘한 것 같습니다. 매출이랑 EPS가 나와야 되는데 아직 안 보이네요. 마이너스 6%? 어허, 애프터장에서 떨어지고 있어요. 나왔다. 아마 새로운 기업 인수를 했으면 EPS가 좋지가 않겠죠? 잠깐 보겠습니다. 그래서 매출은 1240만 달러가 나왔네요. 제가 예상했던 거랑 비슷하게 나온 것 같아요. 예상치는 1056만이었기 때문에 매출은 잘 나온 것 같고, 올해 연매출 예상이 38.5에서 42.5 밀리언으로 상향. 그리고 이번 3분기 부킹스 수주가 63.5밀리언. 잘 나왔는데 요거 속으시면 안 됩니다. 이렇게 떨궈 놓고 본장에서 올리는 거 여러 번 봤죠. 근데 제가 봤을 때는 나쁘지 않은 것 같은데요, 결과가. 그리고 큐비텍이라는 회사 인수를 발표했다. 양자 네트워킹 회사 인수. 아스트라제네카 이거 뭐야? 이게 뭐죠? 이거 어마어마한 게 나왔는데 아스트라제네카 신약 개발 계획을 시작했다고? 아스트라제네카 하면은 메이저 파마인데, 어허. 그리고 엔시스라는 곳이 어딘지 모르겠는데 여기와 양자 컴퓨팅 관련된 컴퓨터로 지원되는 엔지니어링 산업에 100억 불 규모의 파트너십. 그 메릴랜드와 양자 혁신을 위한 900만 달러 계약 발표. 이거는 큽니다. 이건 흔들기예요. 이건 올라갈 겁니다. 제가 봤을 때 지금 왔다 갔다 하죠. 아스트라제네카 이름이 언급된 것만 해도 이제 정부에서 민간으로 넘어간다는 소리이기 때문에 이건 엄청난 소식이거든요. 다시 한번 보시면은 3분기 매출이 1240만 달러로 월가 예측은 한 1056만이었는데 훨씬 초과했죠. 제가 어제 공유드렸던 자료에 한 1200만 정도 나오지 않겠냐라고 했는데 제가 정확히 맞춘 것 같고, 연간 매출 가이던스를 3850만에서 4250만으로 올렸다. 기존에 얼마였냐 한번 찾아보면은 제 자료가 다 있거든요. 이 분기 때 내놨던 예상이 75에서 많이 올렸네. 조금 올렸네. 한 50만 달러. 2분기 예상은 38에서 42밀리언인데 중요한 거는 1분기 때 원래 37에서 41이었죠. 1분기 예상은 37에서 41밀리언이었는데 이게 2분기 때 38에서 42가 되고 3분기 때 38.5에서 42.5로 두 번 올렸다는 거, 연매출. 이건 굉장히 좋은 소식이고요. 3분기 부킹스 수주가 63.5에서 63.5다. 그러면은 지금 부킹스가 어디 보자. 2분기 부킹스가 얼마야? 이거 계산을 해보면 1억 불 도달했는지 못했는지 볼 수 있죠. 1분기 수주, 2분기 수주가 지금 9밀리언. 4분기는 아직 안 나왔죠. 자, 요거 이렇게 친절하게 다 알려주지 않습니다. 직접 찾아봐야 돼요. 1분기 자료를 찾아보면은 1분기 때는 수주가 별로 없었죠. 0.3이었으니까 자, 이걸 합쳐보면은 72.8까지 나와요. 누적 수주가 72.8밀리언이니까 올해 목표가 1억 불이죠. 달성 가능할까? 이거는 뭐 충분할 것 같습니다. 3분기에 이미 어마어마하게 수주를 했으니까. 자, 지금 다시 올라갔죠. 이거 올라갈 수밖에 없습니다. 아스트라제네카가 언급이 됐다는 거는 어마어마한 거기 때문에. 3분기 수주가 어마어마하게 많이 늘었죠. 2분기 때 900만이었는데 3분기에 6,350만 달러를 확보해서 미 공군 연구소에 5,450만 달러를 포함했다. 그리고 큐비텍이라는 소규모 소형 양자 네트워킹 회사를 인수했고, 아스트라제네카와 협력해서 약물 발견 개발을 가속화하겠다. 이게 이제 아마 피터치펜 CEO가 얘기했던 상용 사례가 아닐까 싶고, 엔시스와 컴퓨터 지원 엔지니어링 산업의 양자의 힘을 제공한다. 엔시스라는 회사를 저는 처음 들어보거든요. 엔시스가 어떤 기업인지 한번 찾아보겠습니다. 엔시스는 컴퓨터 지원 공학 소프트웨어를 개발하는 글로벌 기업이다. 구조 해석, 유체 역학, 전자기장 해석, 열 해석 등 다양한 분야에서 시뮬레이션 소프트를 제공하고 있고, 자동차, 항공우주, 전자기기, 에너지, 산업기계 등 어플리케이션들을 내고 있는데 10,000명 이상의 직원을 가지고 있고 연매출이 20억 달러 이상이다. 상장되어 있는 기업이네요. 그래서 이쪽과도 파트너십을 맺은 것 같고, 메릴랜드 대학에서는 뭐 밀접한 관련이 있으니까 900만 달러 파트너십 체결. 자, 일단 큰 거는 다 봤죠. 그래서 엔시스라는 기업 저는 잘 모르는데 유명한 곳인가 봐요. 네, 저는 공돌이가 아니라서 모르는데 어쨌거나 그러면 대박이죠. 아스트라제네카 메이저 파마죠. 엔시스. 여러분들 말씀해 주신 대로 공돌이 필수 툴이다 라고 하면은 이게 의미가 크죠. 이제 B2G에서 정부에서 B2C로 옮겨가는 변곡점이 될 것 같습니다. 이제 정부가 아니라 민간으로 매출을 내는 단계로 넘어가고 있는 것 같고, 어디 보자. 현금성 자산이 지금 3억, 3분기 기준으로 현금성 자산이 3억 8,280만 달러, 그리고 순손실이 5,250만 달러, 에비타 손실이 2,370만 달러인데 이게 지난 분기 대비 얼마나 되는 건지 확인해 보면은 적자 폭을 볼 수 있죠. 요것도 또 처음 보네요. NKT 포토닉스와 협력해서 미래 양자 컴퓨터에 전력을 공급하는 차세대 레이저 시스템을 개발한다. 그리고 아이맥이라는 유명한 R&D 센터와 함께 광자 직접 회로와 칩스케일 이온 트랩 기술을 개발한다. 혼자 하는 게 아니라 이렇게 유망한 기업과 연구소와 같이 광학기술을 개발을 하고 있네요. 4분기 예상 매출이 710에서 1110만. 좀 약한데요. 그리고 올해 전체 수주 7,500만에서 9,500만을 반복. 1억 불 원래 목표를 하고 있는데 일단 반복을 한 것 같아요. 지난 분기 적자 폭을 보면은 EPS를 명시를 안 했는데 한번 보죠. 아, 죄송합니다. B2C가 아니고 B2B고 나중에 이제 B2C로 가는 거죠. 저 지금 3시간밖에 못 자가지고 네, 정신이 없습니다. 시장은 중립을 유지하겠죠. EPS가 아마 안 좋게 나왔을 것 같아요. 이게 정확한 뭐 규모를 안 알려주긴 했는데 제가 봤을 때 본장에서 올라갈 것 같은데요. EPS가 몇인지 안 알려주네. 어쨌거나 2분기 실적으로 다시 돌아가서 보면은 2분기에 현금성 자산이 4억 200만 달러, 현금을 생각보다 많이 안 썼어요. 그리고 순적자는 2분기에 3,240만 달러였으니까 3,760만 달러. 적자폭은 늘어났네요. 아마 회사 인수하고 뭐 R&D 쪽에 돈을 많이 써서 그랬겠죠. 자, 그리고 에비타는 2분기에 마이너스. 지난 분기랑 똑같이 나왔네. 그럼 적자 순손실은 늘어났는데 에비타 손실은 지난 분기와 동일하다. 근데 현금을 별로 안 썼네요. 현금을 2천만 달러도 안 썼는데 현금 쓰는 속도가 현금 소진 속도가 지금 떨어지고 있거든요. 그래서 어허 30 현금 쓰는 속도가 계속 줄어들고 있어요. 그래서 뭐 아직 흑자 전환이 보이기에는 너무 멀지만 네, 현금 소진 속도가 줄어들고 있다는 건 좋은 것 같습니다. 공시를 한번 볼까요? 어닝콜은 6시 반에 시작하는데요. 아직 공시가 안 떴네요. 보통 여기 이렇게 나오거든요. 언제 시작한다고. 엔시스 엔시스와의 파트너십은 기업 가치를 높이고 제품 개발 프로세스를 간소화하는 목표로 양자 전문가, 비전문가가 모두 시뮬레이션을 이용할 수 있도록 하는 것을 목표로 한다. NCC 솔루션은 산업 전반 개발, 제품 개발에 사용되며 시뮬레이션의 상당 부분을 차지한다. 구체적으로 얼마짜리인지는 얘기를 안 해줬네요. EPS가 여기 나와 있는데 마이너스 0.24가 나왔네요. 그러면 네, 예상치가 마이너스 0.217호였으니까 주당 순이익은 안 좋게 나왔죠. 매출은 좋게 나왔는데 그래서 시장에서 평가는 엇갈릴 수밖에 없을 것 같습니다. 네. 뭐 아무리 이렇게 좋은 얘기들이 나와도 시장이 보는 거는 월가가 보는 거는 생존할 수 있는지를 보는 건데 사실 적자폭 커지면은 월가는 던지거든요. 그래서 제가 기억하는 게 작년 5월 달에도 실적 발표할 때 그때 언제였지? 5월 8일, 5월 11일 이때도 네, 매출은 좋았는데 EPS가 안 좋아서 이날도 많이 하락했던 걸로 기억나거든요. 그래서 매출은 어쨌거나 좋게 나왔는데 주당 순이익이 좀 예상치를 하회하는 수치가 나온 것 같습니다. 근데 또 몰라요. 어닝콜에서 이제 어떤 얘기를 하느냐에 따라서 또 크게 주가가 위아래로 왔다 갔다 하죠. 그래서 어닝콜이 6시 반 정도에 시작한다고 했는데 네, 아직은 보이는 게 없네요. 원래 여기 공시를 이렇게 떠주는데 장외에서 낚이시면 안 됩니다. 장외는 조그만 돈으로도 움직일 수 있기 때문에 본장과 거꾸로 움직이는 경우가 너무 많아요. 그래서 저는 웬만하면 본장 열리고 한 30분에서 1시간 있다가 매매를 하거든요. 그때 5월 11일도 보면은 이때는 마이너스 10% 정도 빠졌었네. 그러니까 주당 순이익이 예상치를 하회한 거는 조금 아쉽네요. 그래서 본장이 열려봐야 알겠지만 떨어질 수도 있을 것 같아요. 그러면 어닝콜 대기를 한번 해보도록 하겠습니다. 매출은 1240만 달러입니다. 요런 거는 네, 기본적으로 체크 잘 하셔야죠. 124만 달러는 말도 안 되는 매출이고요. 인베스팅닷컴에 아직 안 올라왔어요. 네, 아까도 말씀드리긴 했는데 매출이 예상치를 훨씬 상회했고 아스트라제네카와 엔시스와 파트너십 발표 이것만 해도 사실 꽤 크다라고 보고 큐비텍이라는 소형 양자 네트워킹 회사 인수까지 해서 내용 자체는 나쁘지 않은 것 같은데 EPS가 지금 여기는 기록이 안 됐는데 EPS가 마이너스 0.24로 예상치 뭐 마이너스 0.22 하회를 했죠. 이게 수익성이 예상치를 하회하면은 주가에 안 좋을 수도 있습니다. 그래서 이게 올라갈지 내려갈지 모르겠어요. 본장 열려봐야 합니다. 지금 애프터마켓은 아무 의미가 없어요. 이거는 작은 돈으로도 시세를 움직일 수 있기 때문에 뭐 이것 때문에 심리가 흔들리신 거는 저는 어, 네, 조금 그렇네요. 그거는 본장이 열려봐야 아는 거죠. 매출은 1240만 달러입니다. 공시에 그렇게 나왔거든요. 지금 뭐 어떤 걸 보고 얘기하시는 건지 모르겠는데 인베스팅닷컴에도 아직 안 올라왔죠. 이거 매출 잘못 올라왔네. 네, 인베스팅닷컴이 매출을 잘못 올렸네요. 자, 1240만 달러죠. 요거는 이 회사 측에서 잘못 올린 거고요. 어, 어닝콜 들어보겠습니다.
Earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are on a listen-only mode. A question and answer session will follow the formal presentation. If anyone should require operator assistance during the conference, please press *0 on your telephone keypad. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded. I would now like to turn the conference over to your host, Jordan Shapiro. Thank you. You may begin.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to IonQ's third quarter 2024 earnings call. My name is Jordan Shapiro, and I'm the Vice President of Financial Planning and Analysis and Head of Investor Relations here at IonQ. I am pleased to be joined on today's call by Peter Chapman, IonQ's President and Chief Executive Officer, Thomas Kramer, our Chief Financial Officer, and Dr. Dean Kassman, our Senior Vice President of Engineering and Technology. By now, everyone should have access to the company's third quarter 2024 earnings press release issued this afternoon, which is available on the Investor Relations section of our website at investors.ionq.com. Please note that on today's call, management will refer to adjusted EBITDA, which is a non-GAAP financial measure. While the company believes this non-GAAP financial measure provides useful information for investors, the presentation of this information is not intended to be considered in isolation or as a substitute for the financial information presented in accordance with GAAP. You are directed to our press release for a reconciliation of adjusted EBITDA to its closest comparable GAAP measure. During the call, we will discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. These comments are based on our beliefs as of today. Actual events or results could differ materially from the outlook and other forward-looking statements due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those mentioned in our 10-Q filing with the SEC this week. We undertake no obligation to revise any statements to reflect changes that occur after this call, except as required by law. Now, I will turn it over to Peter Chapman, President and CEO of IonQ. Peter?
Thanks, Jordan, and thank you to everyone for joining today's earnings call. We have a lot to talk about, so let's dive in. On the financial front, we are leading the industry with our commercial trajectory. In the third quarter, we exceeded our expected range on revenue, raising our annual revenue guidance, and brought in $63.5 million of new contract bookings. We are making game-changing announcements on the development of quantum applications with AstraZeneca and Ansys. We have solidified our push into quantum networking via our recent contracts less than a year after announcing our networking initiative. And we are sharing the news of our acquisition of Qubitekk, a leader in the quantum networking industry. What's more, we will share some details of our rapidly developing technical progress and the manufacturing partnerships that are driving it. So in more detail, we once again exceeded the high end of our revenue range for the quarter, delivering $12.4 million in recognized revenue compared to our range of $9 to $12 million for the quarter. This also represents IonQ more than doubling our third quarter revenue year over year. With that in mind, we are raising our revenue guidance for the full year 2024 and fourth quarter to a range of $38.5 million and $42.5 million. We announced a new $54.5 million contract with our existing customer, the United States Air Force Research Lab, as well as a $9 million renewal with the University of Maryland. This brings IonQ year-to-date bookings for 2024 to $72.8 million, within close range of our target guidance for the year of $75 million to $95 million. Given our sales progress to date, we now believe that we will come in closer to the high end of the bookings guidance range. And of course, our booking success will set us up for continued success next year in growing our revenue. IonQ has exceeded its original bookings targets for each of the past 3 years since we have been publicly traded, raising or beating our bookings or revenue expectations 12 times out of our 13 earnings calls, including today. Meanwhile, we are on track to roughly double the company's recognized revenue for the third year in a row. Our annual revenue has exceeded the high end of our guidance range every year. In short, one can no longer ignore the scale of IonQ's commercial success. The investment thesis for IonQ is our potential for high growth, and we keep delivering on that promise. Thomas will discuss our financials in more depth. Everyone, investors and customers alike, want to know when previously impossible tasks can be addressed by quantum applications. The answer is at the convergence of powerful enough quantum computers, a matching application, and ability to manufacture the hardware at scale. In the quantum world, there are two camps or schools of thought on this topic. One camp believes you need near perfection before value can be unlocked. If they are correct, sadly, quantum is still a long way off. The naysayers belong to this camp, but their numbers are dwindling every day. The other camp, which IonQ and others belong to, believe today's early, noisy quantum computers can provide value even before they are perfected. And if we are right, it gives us a significant advantage by generating early, meaningful cash collection as we work towards perfection. About 18 months ago, I challenged our teams to answer a critical question. I told them, I don't care about theoretical algorithms with limited practical applicability. I don't care about the academic argument about quantum supremacy. Instead, I asked them, what are the applications that have the potential to disrupt multi-billion-dollar industries? The team has since identified several application areas where we believe commercial value will be first realized and aligned with our next-generation hardware and IonQ's production capability. We then reached out to industry partners to understand the value of these applications to their respective industries. Today marks a seminal moment in the quantum industry as we announce the first two application areas: biopharmaceutical drug discovery and computer-aided simulations for the engineering and manufacturing industries. In the global biopharmaceutical industry, I am excited to announce the creation of a new Quantum Application Development Center in collaboration with AstraZeneca. IonQ will be leveraging the power of our quantum experts and AstraZeneca's world-class scientists to develop applications in their Innovation BioVenture Hub in Gothenburg, Sweden. In the computer-aided engineering industry, IonQ has joined forces with ANSYS to accelerate simulation, expand high-fidelity design exploration, and reduce product development timelines, enabling faster market entry for more innovative products. The partnership is aimed at making simulation accessible to both quantum experts and non-experts by allowing seamless integration between ANSYS software and IonQ computers. To reach our aggressive sales goals, we have always planned on growing application revenue. We expect these applications to drive demand for new systems in production, but also for us to share in the up to $2 trillion economic value that McKinsey projects will be unlocked by 2035. We've reached an incredibly impactful point, and we could not be more excited to partner with AstraZeneca and ANSYS to bring production-grade quantum applications to their respective industries. I can't tell you how much personally I am excited about these applications. Now switching our focus to quantum networking. We believe that IonQ is the only quantum computing company that has an inherent advantage in the quantum networking market, contributing to our early leadership. Specifically, we have always relied upon networking as part of our architecture to scale our quantum computers. Quantum networking and quantum computing for IonQ are highly synergistic. Our recent wins of a $54.5 million contract with AFRL and our $5.7 million contract with the Applied Research Laboratory for Intelligence and Security, or ARLIS, are examples of our quantum networking investments paying off. At more than $60 million, we believe these two sales alone have catapulted IonQ to become a leading player in the quantum networking industry. To expand on that leadership, today we are excited to announce that we have signed a definitive agreement to acquire Qubitekk, a leading Vista, California-based quantum networking company. The combination of Qubitekk and IonQ will allow us to continue our momentum in quantum networking by the addition of Qubitek's 118 U.S. and international granted patents. I expect that the quantum networking products will continue to strongly drive sales and to be the first product group that is cash flow positive. Quantum networking is a large and rapidly growing opportunity, with McKinsey estimating that quantum communication will become a $36 billion market by 2040. Quantum networking, like classical networking hardware, is also expected to require several orders of magnitude more physical hardware than quantum computing to build the infrastructure for the quantum internet. This is another element of the networking market where IonQ is particularly well suited, given the investments we have made over the past years to scale up our production manufacturing capabilities. The IonQ technical team also demonstrated ion-to-ion entanglement, the second of 4 significant milestones required to develop photonic interconnects and significantly scale our system capacity. While we are thrilled with our technical progress in quantum networking, we're even more thrilled to join forces with Qubitekk and leverage their quantum networking expertise. Lastly, on the technology front, we are happy to announce 2 new agreements for critical components of future systems, starting with IonQ Tempo. Number 1, we announced a partnership with NKT Photonics, a subsidiary of Hamamatsu Photonics, to develop next-generation laser systems for our trapped ion computers and networking equipment. The arrangement will begin with NKT Photonics developing and delivering 3 innovative prototype optical subsystems to us in 2025, designed to improve the performance, size, weight, and power of our upcoming data center-ready quantum computers. Number 2, today I am also pleased to announce a new partnership with IMEC, a world-renowned innovation hub in nanoelectronics and digital technologies, to develop photonic integrated circuits and chip-scale ion trap technology. With these groundbreaking technology, IonQ aims to reduce overall hardware system size and cost, increase qubit count, and improve system performance and scale. The developments of this quarter are nothing short of groundbreaking and position IonQ to be the preeminent player in the quantum industry in the near term and for many years to come. Many of you already know IonQ as a leading quantum computing company. With today's announcements, we believe that we are now the leading company at the intersection of quantum computing and networking. And in the future, you will likely also know us as a software application company. Our commercial track record has launched IonQ towards the rarefied echelon of rapidly growing young technology companies by achieving 9 figures in bookings in record time. And with that, I'd like to turn the call over to Thomas.
Thank you, Peter. It has truly been an exciting quarter on the applications and commercial front, and our financials are no exception. Let's walk through this quarter's financial results in more detail. As Peter mentioned, we had a strong revenue quarter, recognizing $12.4 million, which is above the high end of the range we previously provided. This overperformance was primarily due to our ability to make more progress than previously anticipated on some of our contracts that use percentage of completion revenue recognition. We also booked $63.5 million of sales in the third quarter. As we have mentioned in prior earnings calls, we anticipate lumpiness in our bookings since it is difficult to predict quarter to quarter, or even in some cases year to year, exactly when a particular sale will materialize. We remain confident in our bookings target for the year. Moving down the income statement, our total operating costs and expenses for the third quarter were $65.5 million, up 36% from $48.3 million in the prior year period, but within our plan for the year. To break this down further, our research and development costs for the third quarter were $33.2 million, up 35% from $24.6 million in the prior year period. Recall that we are investing heavily in R&D and growing our R&D headcount to support our roadmap and customer commitments. Our sales and marketing costs in the third quarter were $6.6 million, up 31% from $5 million in the prior year period. This increase was due to our growing both our marketing and our sales teams as we continue investing into our commercial efforts. Our general and administrative costs in the third quarter were $14.3 million, up 3% from $13.9 million in the prior year period. These increases were primarily driven by an increase in payroll-related expenses. All of this resulted in a net loss of $52.5 million in the third quarter, compared to $44.8 million in the prior year period. Accounting for warrants can be confusing, so we've always pointed out the impact they have on our results. This Q3 loss includes a non-cash loss of $3.9 million for the third quarter related to the fair value of our warrant liabilities. These results also include growth in stock-based compensation expense related to our headcount growth, which was $24.6 million for the third quarter, compared to $17 million for the prior year period. We saw an adjusted EBITDA loss for the third quarter of $23.7 million compared to a $22.4 million loss in the prior year period. We continue to project an adjusted EBITDA loss for the year of $110.5 million. Turning now to our balance sheet. Cash, cash equivalents, and investment as of September 30th, 2024, were $382.8 million. We continue to believe this cash position is the strongest of any publicly traded company focused on full-stack computing. Importantly, while we have increased IonQ's run rate in recent years, we are offsetting this by beginning to collect large payments from IonQ's customers, including those who have purchased systems. Our run rate increases are largely related to employee costs, as we have worked rapidly to bring the best quantum talent to IonQ. It is also worth mentioning that a significant portion of our investment in setting up manufacturing is now behind us. IonQ's board and management team are focused on being the leading business in both the rapidly expanding quantum computing and quantum networking segments. Our corporate goals in the coming years are profitable growth, positive free cash flow, and commercial quantum market leadership. Now turning to our financial outlook. We are pleased to announce that we will be raising our revenue guidance for the full year 2024 to a range of $38.5 million to $42.5 million, reflecting our confidence in our progress on our percentage of completion-based contracts. We currently expect revenue for the fourth quarter of between $7.1 and $11.1 million. We remain confident in our 2024 bookings guidance of between $75 and $95 million. Back to you, Peter.
Thank you, Thomas. As we have evidenced since IPO, via our customer wins and our fantastic third quarter, IonQ is demonstrably leading the commercialization of quantum computing and quantum networking worldwide. The quarter's bookings were on par with our entire last year of bookings combined. We are making great strides with our collaborations with AstraZeneca and Ansys to break new ground in applications. And we furthered our leadership position in quantum networking, demonstrated by our $54.5 million cornerstone deal with AFRL, as well as our achievement of the second milestone on our path to implementing photonic interconnects. We look forward to a strong close of the year and to updating you all again on our fourth quarter call in February. With that, I'd like to turn it over to the operator for our question and answer session.
Thank you. At this time, we'll be conducting a question and answer session. If you'd like to ask a question, please press star one on your telephone keypad. A confirmation tone will indicate your line is in the question queue. You may press star two if you'd like to remove your question from the queue. For participants using speaker equipment, it may be necessary to pick up your handset before pressing the star keys. One moment, please, while we poll for questions. Our first question comes from David Williams with The Benchmark Company. Please proceed with your question.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for taking my question. Lots of really interesting and exciting things going on. It's hard to find a place to start, but maybe first, Peter, can you speak to just the Qubitekk acquisition, what that technology brings, and how does that kind of merge synergistically with what you've been doing internally?
Yeah, I'd be happy, David. Several things here. One is that, as we've kind of talked about it in the past, the way that IonQ will get to scale is by photonically networking our quantum computers together. And Qubitekk is doing something similar, not exactly the same, but they have the same kind of rough skill sets in terms of people. The other side is it gives us another product line as well to go after. It's a new market for us. So it's both complementary and also expands the TAM that we can go after.
Okay, fantastic. And just kind of thinking about, you have the networking efforts now, and you also have the computing side. How do you think about the sensing pillar in terms of quantum? And is that an area we should anticipate that you might be looking to enter at some point?
Yeah, so one of the nice things is that often sensing requires quantum networking to be able to transport the quantum information. So again, it enables another piece of infrastructure in the three different markets that kind of makes up quantum. It's quantum sensing, quantum networking, and quantum computing.
Sure. Okay, and then just one last one, if I may. You've talked about applications this quarter, and before you alluded to it. And, we've seen before other applications or other areas where you've partnered with manufacturers or different industries to work on a specific problem. Can you talk maybe about how this application develops over time and how you think about that relative to maybe the one-off things you've done in the past?
You expressed actually the core of it. A lot of times we've worked with companies, sometimes, for a one-off or maybe an R&D kind of project. We largely put an end to those about 18 months ago. And so we said, okay, it's time now really to focus on the applications that will be the first applications that we put into production. And so we didn't want to get started on the application software when we had the hardware done. We want the software to come along at exactly the same time as when the hardware is ready to run those applications. So we're timing those two things together. What the two announcements that are today with both Ansys and AstraZeneca is the beginnings of working on those applications. We've been working on the prototypes for these applications for the last, 6 or 8 months or so. So we're not starting at square one, but it's not completed either. So that's kind of the major difference. I would put Hyundai maybe into the third camp as well, which is, our engagements there are now moving into what can we do that actually helps them in a production sense as well.
Thanks so much for the color. Certainly appreciate it.
Our next question comes from Richard Shannon with Craig-Hallum. Please proceed with your question.
Hi, guys. This is Tyler Anderson on for Richard Shannon. Congratulations on the quarter in M&A. I'm very surprised. It's amazing. And thank you for taking my questions. I was wondering, does the hardware from Qubitekk require distillation or node-to-node swap operations? And then also, will the chip-scale ion trap from the IMEC partnership be used within the AFRL contract? And then could you describe the price of the Qubitekk acquisition and expected incremental OpEx?
Okay, I'll start. This is Dean. There's a lot to unpack in your question. The first piece is with regards to the technology and regards to the swap and other things that we expect to need to use to basically generate two-trap entanglement or two QPU entanglement. That is not part of the fundamental technology stack that we have with the Qubitekk and the QKD work that they have. There is similarity, though, associated with the milestone that we just actually announced with our photonic interconnects in terms of like the Bell State Analyzer and the photon entanglement. And so there is analogies between the work that we're doing with the photonic interconnect as well as what's being done in those quantum networks. And so there's parallel technology. Some of it in the component technology is one and the same, but right now they are operating at different frequencies, and so what we need to do for our photonic interconnects is fundamentally different than what you would need is currently being done as state-of-the-art in many of the QKD solutions. Your second question was associated with IMEC and some of the PIC development and its relationship to our AFRL work. The overall AFRL work is focused on development of our, in particular, the most recent large item was first associated with frequency conversion. So this goes back actually to relate to the Qubitekk acquisition, where we're looking at conversion of wavelengths from barium and other computing frequencies down to telecom frequencies to be able to push the entanglement over long distances. The second piece of that is the, I would say, photonic switching, that work there, the prototypes there. And then the third is really component ruggedization. The IMEC work has the potential to play in all of those areas, but not in the near term, but instead in the far term. So as we think about our technology stack, as we think about putting optics down onto chip-scale devices, that is where we expect to see that. None of the activities right now within the period of performance of our current AFRL contract.
And then there was one other question, which was price.
Oh, yeah. So the consideration for the acquisition is $22 million, which we have funded in cash from our balance sheet. The details are laid out in the quarterly disclosures. We evaluated the size and determined that the cash commitment was manageable relative to the size of our cash position, and we plan to close the transaction in the next 6 months.
And I'll just add one other little piece, which is that the Qubitekk purchase also, given their existing contracts, they have a relationship with real-world telcos. And so it kind of moves our efforts out of the laboratory and now allows us to start to test in the field, so to speak. Great questions, by the way.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And then one more for me. Could you quantitatively frame the near-term government spending opportunity on a national and an international level? And then where is your strength across the different types of opportunities as far as application, computation, and networking? And what are the size of those different buckets?
We might need another whole meeting, I think, to get through that question.
Sorry.
I think maybe what we could probably best point you to is to some of the work that the BCGs and the McKinseys of the world, in terms of what the expected markets are for those things. Clearly, we have one of the things that I think most proud of at IonQ is we've kind of told the market, even from the first day of the IPO, what it is we're going to do, and we just do it. We keep on doing it and exceeding it. So it's actually not much of a secret. We've been saying it since the first day of the IPO.
Okay, then maybe just a little bit shorter. How would you weigh your focus between government and commercial monies moving forward with all of these acquisitions and the telco involvement?
Well, in the near term, it's been a good portion, which is towards government. But the beginnings now of these application projects, now it's starting to switch over to enterprise. And that's always been the plan. If you go back to the very beginning of the IPO, you'll see that we said, hey, it's really going to start to take off as soon as we can start to bring these applications online.
Awesome. Thank you, guys, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As a reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. One moment, please, while we poll for questions. Our next question comes from Shadi Mitwalli with Needham & Company. Please proceed with your question.
This is Shadi Mitwalli dialing in for Quinn Bolton. First off, congrats on an exciting quarter. Lots to unpack here. Earlier in the year, you guys announced a major milestone in photonic interconnects, and now with the partnership with NKT Photonics, it's clear IonQ is making solid work on the photonics front. But just want to touch on how NKT Photonics systems will support the commercialization of IonQ's quantum computers.
You want, Dean, to take that?
I'll take it first from the technology perspective, and Peter can take it from the business perspective. On the technology side, NKT has a different sets of different lasers, and there's different laser technology, diode lasers, pulse lasers, fiber-based lasers. And so what we're looking for from a technology perspective in our laser kind of vendors and suppliers are robust lasers that operate at the frequencies and the wavelengths that we're interested in, and lasers that simply just work, right? And so part of this represents us both trying to put in place larger scale manufacturing and larger scale kind of supplier agreements, as well as trying to down select to technology partners that can provide the wavelengths that we need, the cost points that we need, and the robustness and stability that we need for really 24/7 operation of the systems.
And I'll just add just a little bit on the business, which Dean kind of hinted at, which is, it's the question of the cost of these systems. Lasers are a significant portion of our overall costs. So when we sat down and said, look, we're going to be moving to production, one of the pieces be able to reduce the cost, also reduce the size. So this is investments that you see in both of these announcements today, both with IMEC and also with NKT, of us actually working towards that promise.
Great. Thanks for all that. And then maybe on OpEx, you guys announced a number of new partnerships and awards this quarter. And earlier in the prepared remarks, you guys talked about expanding the team to support all this growth. So just curious on how we should think about OpEx going forward, and then maybe talk about how much the team needs to expand to support all this growth.
Well, I think that where we are on OpEx for the rest of the year is already laid out in what we have discussed earlier. We're not making any change to OpEx right now, and we will be discussing the OpEx for next year on the Q4 call, which I look forward to seeing everybody call into as well. What we are focusing is we've gone through rapid growth, and it's time for us to think about growth where it really matters and start making sure that we are always investing in only the places that matter, and that we refunnel capital to areas where they can be the most and best used.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for all the color, and congrats on the exciting quarter.
Thank you.
We have reached the end of the question and answer session. I'd now like to turn the call back over to Peter Chapman for closing comments.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, for your support, and for all the questions. Finally, I want to thank the entire IonQ team for the continued diligent work that contributed to such a meaningful quarter for us technically and commercially, and that continues to fuel everything we look forward to in the future. Thanks, everyone.
This concludes today's conference. You may disconnect your lines at this time, and we thank you for your participation.
자, 이제 어닝콜이 끝났어요. 이미 뉴스로 내놓은 거를 저희가 초반에 이미 다 봤기 때문에 뭐 특별한 소식은 없었는데, 일단 총평을 한번 내려보면은 매출은 너무 좋았죠. 예상치가 지금 인베스팅닷컴에 잘못 나오긴 했어요. 이게 1240만 달러인데 아까 보니까 뭐 1100 단위로 나왔더라고요. 그래서 그거는 인베스팅닷컴이 요거는 잘못 나온 거고요. 매출이 1240만 달러이고 예상치를 훨씬 상회를 했는데, 이제 EPS가 수익성이 예상치보다 낮게 나왔다는 게 이제 지금 뭐 장호에서 떨어지는 이유인 것 같은데, 제가 집중하는 거는 사실 단기적인 EPS는 그다지 중요하지 않다라고 보고요. 회사가 잘하고 있는지를 봐야 되는데, 지금 뭐 적자가 적지 않은 상황인데 큐비텍이라는 양자 네트워킹 회사까지 인수를 해서, 원래 아이온큐가 양자 컴퓨터 하드웨어 쪽에 강자였는데 양자 네트워킹을 강화하기 위해서 소형 기업을 인수했다는 것 자체가 굉장히 공격적인 투자였다고 생각을 하고요. 또 아스트라제네카 그리고 엔시스, 이 거대한 기업들과 협력을 새로 발표한 것도 고무적이라고 생각을 합니다. 그래서 이제 B2G, 정보 매출에서 B2B로 넘어가는 단계다라고 피터 챕맨 CEO도 얘기를 했죠. 그래서 올해 전체 예상 수주 금액이 7,500만에서 9,500만인데 아까 보시다시피 이미 거의 7,300만을 달성을 했기 때문에 4분기 어떻게 될지 모르지만 4분기에 뭐 조금만 채우면은 올해 1억 불 수주도 달성을 할 수 있을 것 같아요. 그래서 뭐 특별한 내용은 없었는데 뭐 본장 열려봐야 알겠지만, 저 개인적으로는 잘하고 있는 것 같습니다. 그래서 제가 예상했던 매출만큼 나온 것 같고, 아스트라제네카, 엔시스가 언급된 것만으로도 이제 양자 컴퓨터에 대한 관심이 정부만 가지는 게 아니라 이제 대기업들로 옮겨가는 변곡점에 있구나라고 생각을 하거든요. 그래서 뭐 지금 뭐 4% 떨어진다고 뭐 털린다, 폭락이다 이렇게 얘기하시는 분들은 투자를 잘못하고 계시는 거예요. 저는 평단가 7불인데 네, 뭐 지금 여기서 5% 내리든 크게 상관하지 않습니다. 어차피 2030년 100불을 보고 가는 사람이기 때문에 네. 그리고 여러분들 뭐 아시다시피 제가 이번에 이 양자 투자를 위한 교과서 같은 책을 썼어요. 지금 당장 양자 컴퓨터에 투자라는 책인데요. 발송이 시작이 됐습니다. 그래서 요거 뭐 책팔이 안에 이렇게 얘기하실 수 있는데 제가 드리고 싶은 말씀은 이 책 판매에서 발생하는 제 수익은 다 기부하기로 했어요. 그래서 여러분들 제가 보니까 댓글창에 아직도 양자 투자가 어떻게 해야 되는 건지 모르시는 분들이 너무 많은 것 같아요. 그냥 좋다더라라고 해서 사신 분들이 많은 것 같은데 이 책에 제 유튜브에 있는 900개의 영상을 엑기스만 뽑아서 담아놨거든요. 그래서 여러분들이 꼭 한 번 더 사셔서 읽어보시면 좋을 것 같고요. 이 책에 이제 제가 엑기스들을 담았고 제 투자 역사, 뭐 어떻게 여기까지 오게 되고 아이온큐 임원들까지 만나게 됐는지 이런 얘기들도 있기 때문에 지루하지 않게 재밌게 읽으실 수 있으실 거예요. 그래서 지금 뭐 이미 베스트셀러에 올라갔고요. 알라딘 기준으로는 탑 9까지 올라갔습니다. 그래서 여러분들 꼭 한번 사서 읽어보시면 좋을 것 같고 또 제가 전액 기부할 거니까 좋은 활동에 참여한다라고 생각하시고 함께 해주시면 좋을 것 같습니다. 자, 어쨌거나 네, 오늘은 여기서 라이브 마무리하도록 하고요. 제가 다시 공부해보면서 핵심 요약한 영상을 뭐 한두 시간 안에 올려드릴 테니까 그걸로 다시 복습해 보시고 또뭐 단기적인 주가를 보고 들어오신 분들은 빨리 익절하시는 게 낫습니다. 이게 사실 어떻게 될지 모르는 기술이잖아요. 양자 컴퓨터는 현업에 있는 사람들조차 이거 될지 안 될지 모른다라고 할 정도로 굉장히 어려운 기술이기 때문에 단기적으로 차익을 보려고 들어오셨다면 수익을 줄 때 나가는 게 맞습니다. 근데 저 같은 경우는 이 회사를 3년 이상 따라왔고 잘하고 있다는 거를 뭐 2번씩이나 미국에 가서 직접 확인을 했기 때문에 올해 안에 20불 돌파가 이제 목표가거든요. 뭐 제 영상 보신 분들은 아시겠지만 여기 이제 부진할 때 제가 올해 목표를 한 15불에서 20불로 봤는데 이미 목표 달성을 했어요. 그래서 저는 지금도 만족하지만 올해 20불 돌파를 목표로 바라보고 있습니다. 자, 배당 얘기는 아직은 나오기는 너무 멀었어요. 지금 배당 주는 회사들 중에 테슬라 규모가 됐는데도 배당을 안 주죠. 그래서 이 회사 배당을 생각하고 투자하시면 절대로 안 됩니다. 이 회사는 시세 차익을 보려고 들어오는 회사지 배당은 너무 멀었어요. 네, 그 얘기 드리고 이제 마무리하도록 하겠습니다. 여러분들 오늘도 이제 파이팅 하시고 목요일이니까 이틀만 더 힘내시고 또 주말에 푹 쉬시기 바랍니다. 감사합니다. 마무리하도록 하겠습니다.